morning, students. So in this computer networks lecture series, the topic that we are discuss is from unit 5, that is on application layer. So the topic is HTTP, that is the stands for HTTP transfer Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So Hypertext Transfer Protocol, basically it is having the topic that we are going to discuss about what is meant by hypertext, and then what are different types of connections are available in the hypertext, and then the message format, like how we can send the message through the this protocol, and how we will be getting the response message. Those things will be discussed here. So basically we know that what is an HTTP. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is then basically a client server program through which we can able to send a query, and then we can retrieve the web pages. So with this protocol only it is possible. So how it is basically working, it is a working concept behind of our Google, any search engine, that is it could be an Gmail or Yahoo, whatever it is. So it is a working concept. Here HTTP client sends a request, and then HTTP server returns a response. The server uses a default port number of 80, and the client uses a temporary port number. Why? Because the client could be changed. That's why it uses a temporary port number. But the server is always same only, because I am going to use only google.com. I am going to use only yahoo.com for my searching. So this application address won't be changed, but the client would be vary, right? So that's why it is uses a temporary port number. HTTP uses the services of a TCP, which is basically in connection oriented and reliable service. So we have two different types of connections. One is a non-persistent, next one is a persistent. Before that, I'll just give you giving a brief idea of what is RTT. If you know RTT, it is very useful. It is also a common term used here, which is called as round trip time. It is a small time for travel from client to the sender and from the server to the client, which is said to be the RTT. So here in non-persistent connection, so number of RTT will be higher. Why? Because so in non-persistent connection, it won't be wait for some sort of time. If for each and every retrieval, information retrieval or message retrieval or image retrieval, whatever I am doing, for each and every retrieval, I have to give request to the server. So the server won't be open for some sort of time. So once I respond to that data, automatically it will go to the finished state. It will close the connection. Okay. So what will happen? It will take more time. More number of requests will be higher, right? So depends upon the data. Like if I want to get 10 images, so I have to use 10 RTTs, right? 10 into 2 number of RTTs, because sending and then responding. So 10 into 2. So 10 into 2, 20 RTTs plus 10 images has to be transmitted. So it is somewhat a time consuming task. So that's why we move on to the persistent connection. So the connection that we are using right now is said to be the persistent connection. So in this persistent connection, it will be open for some sort of time. Within this time period, we can retrieve as many as data as you want. Okay. In persistent connection, the server leaves the connection open for more number of requests after sending the response. Server can close the connection at the request of a client. Or if the timeout has been reached. So after receiving an object, another 3 handshake messages has to be required to terminate the connection. So but in the case of a non-persistent connection, the client opens a TCP connection and sends a request, and then it will close the connection. One more time again, if a client wants to read another data, means it has to initiate the TCP connection, send the request, and then retrieve the message, and automatically it will go to the closing state. So that is the problem in non-persistent connection. So these are all the differences. So we are using HTTP, which is the persistent. It is HTTP 1.1. The HTTP 1.0 is the non-persistent connections. Okay, and then so number of RTT, it uses only one RTT for each retrieval. but here it uses 2 RTT for each retrieval. Here the TCP connection is not closed. TCP connection is not closed. Here it is closed after for each and every request. Number of requests on TCP connection. Here multiple requests. Here multiple requests over TCP connections. Okay. The request method that what we are using is get head put delete. Non-persistent we are using get post and head. Okay. So this is the message format. So I will be sending, and any message automatically will be converted into a request line, header, blank line, and the message body, and carriage line lines. It comes to the next line feed and space. So these are the main thing. The methods, that is a request, we have different methods are there: head, get, head, post, put, delete, connect options. Get is somewhat you want to retrieve something. Post is somewhat you want to send a server to the data like customer information, file upload using the HTML forms. Put is used to replaces all the current representations with the new content. And delete is if you want to delete some unnecessary information, means you can do that. Okay, so these are the request method. And then so in the header it is having something like a user agent. It defines a client program, accept, and then what kind of encoding we are using, what kind of language that is using, authorization, host, date, and then upgrade and cookie, and then if modified source. And this is the request message. In this way it will come. So here this is a reference message. So you can see that H reference, automatic the link will go. But in the user they won't get this type of coding, they will get simply a link. So here URL defines that categories and 20 books, and request method is a get method, and HTTP version is 1.1, and then the domain host is localhost and the port number is 2400. And this is a response message sent by the server to the client. It's used to provide the client with the resource it is requested. So this is a general format. And then the HTTP responses contains the following things like status line, header fields, and the message body. Status code means we'll commonly use some status code. 200 means success, 404 means bad gateway. Those things, so these are all the very common status. So version number defines the what kind of version we are using, whether we are using persistent or non-persistent. If it isn't persistent, we will be using 1.1. okay. And these are all the status code. If starts with 1 means the status code starts with 1 means it carries some information. Starts with 2 means success, 3 means redirection, 4 means it is a client error, 5 means it is a server error. So this is a response line example. And then cache is just like a temporary data. You don't have to go for the if there is a repeated request means it won't go for the server each and every time. Instead of that, say just take an example. If I want to get the score of a football match, so obviously everyone is searching for the score of a particular football match. So for that everyone won't be every time it won't be go to the server and get the response. Instead it will be stored in the cache and then it will send a message to us. So here for that they will be using some proxy servers, but it doesn't redirect to the original server actually. Okay, so HTTP supports proxy servers. This is a computer that keeps a copy of the responses of the recent request, as I said earlier. So HTTP client sends a request to the proxy checks whether it is in a cache. If it is in the cache, it will send. If it is not, it will go redirect to the original server. Okay, so thanks for listening, students. Thank you.